Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
Blood and rage of crimson red, ripped from a corpse so freshly dead, together with our hellish hate, will burn you all. That is your fate.
This is Red Lantern Russell from
Homes of Evil,
and you're listening to Sector 2814, a Green Lantern podcast.
In brightest day,
in blackest night,
No evil shall escape my sight.
but those who worship evil's might.
beware my power.
Green Lantern's light. Hello and welcome back to Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast. I am Phil. Joining me as always, Master of the Core, and most importantly tonight, Hal Jordan, #1 fanboy. It is.
I'm Will. Hey, everyone.
That's right, kids, because we're going to finish up that Spectre run by Mr. J.M. DeMatteis from the Spectre 24 through 27. Not too much Hal Jordan. There's a few more, but not too much more Hal material between this and Rebirth. So,
What is this rebirth you speak of, Phil? I don't know what that is.
what is the story you speak of that I have in multiple formats? What is this?
And multiple copies. And have read multiple times. I do not know what you speak of, sir.
Multiple times this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no! This is episode 107. Rebirth's like what 20? We're like 11 weeks away, I believe, from Rebirth.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool.
We're going under 3 months.
I don't want to minimize what we're reading right now because, it's part of the Green Lantern mythology. It's part of the history, and issues that have been published. But we're on the cusp of what I think a large amount of Green Lantern fans would say, are some of the best times for Green Lantern, when it was being published.
Well, again, it's the start of a new era. You could say that, and again, it adds a lot to the mythos. That's that's the line where the Jeff Johns stuff starts. Eventually we get the multiple the spectrum of lanterns, and
yeah, and we get Rebirth itself is a great story. It's just it's very efficient at what it needs to get done, and it accomplishes it very efficiently, and it's so well done. But then it sets up the stuff, Sinestro Corps War. Some people point to that as the greatest, Green Lantern crossover ever. I don't know. I think it's really awesome, and then we get the other cores, after that. We get a great origin story for Hal, Secret Origin, after that. We then get, Blackest Night and all of those things. And War of the Green Lanterns is coming up. There's just so much coming up that is really, really cool. I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, did the other Lantern Corps have to happen just because it's like you need like a threat on level with the Green Lantern Corps, because it's like, you're fighting a villain. It's like, oh, here, I can call in 7,200 of my buddies, just...
Me and 7,199 of my closest friends.
Exactly.
But, and that's something that we've talked a little bit about. Essentially a sector is infinite because it's a slice, a 3-dimensional slice that comes out from Oa as the center of the universe, right? One Green Lantern to patrol an entire sector of the universe. Yeah, they have to be powerful because who knows what they're going to run up against.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love it. I do love it when the 4 corpsmen are together, those were our guys, right? That's Hal and John and Guy and Kyle. But in reality, most Green Lanterns probably never see another Green Lantern. They're out patrolling their sectors, doing their thing, fighting the good fight, and saving people. So that's just conceptually how they would operate is really, really interesting to me. And I don't know that. And this is going to be a hit probably on John's, because that's the militarization, I think, of the Green Lantern Corps is not something that I really, really liked, because it does echo the militarization of, America's police force. And, you could say that that's social commentary if you wanted to, but, I think that can be handled much better. So that's one of my critiques kind of what Johns did to the Corps, as a military organization. But I think the other corps are cool. They're doing their own thing too. And they serve as, really, really cool object lessons, very based on how far you are from, the center being green.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think that if we didn't have the other Corps, we wouldn't have got Sinestro Corps War, and I think that is a pretty freaking awesome story. So,
yeah.
And Rage of the Red Lanterns. That's like that. How actually? That's an excellent question I have. How are we going to talk about Final Crisis? Because I don't know how to talk about Final Crisis, man.
Are you speaking because it's so big in or is it just because it's a Grant Morrison story? Is that what you're saying?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes to that question. It is somewhat. It's obviously Morrison excels at metatextual commentary, and it is very metatextual, but it's also this big giant crossover thing that redefined the DC universe at the time. And it's interesting to me is because Green Lantern really didn't play much of a part in any of the big universe defining crossovers that DC in Crisis on Infinite Earths, Hal wasn't even a Green Lantern. You had John doing his thing, and then we had Guy kind of brought in to shake things up or whatever from Rogue Guardians. But
I don't know though. 0 Hour, that was all a whole Hal story. Hal was the whole fully responsible for that.
You have the Parallax was different person. But I really don't consider that. Yeah, I guess you're right, but I really don't consider that Green Lantern involvement because that wasn't really Green Lantern. But after
you want a better example, how Jordan reignited the sun at the end of Final Night.
Final Night, yep, that's true. Yeah, I guess it's more the Corps is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Corps wasn't around for a lot of those crossovers. But even after, let's see, did it go Infinite Crisis, then Final Crisis, or Final Crisis, then Infinite Crisis? I can never keep that straight.
It was Infinite Crisis, and then Final Crisis.
So I feel like Final Crisis was where Green Lanterns were important, and then we got it in Dark Crisis. Green Lanterns that was the only place they were appearing. Honestly, so.
Well, and let's not forget who shoots Darkseid with a magic bullet.
Batman, my favorite character.
Hey, he can do anything, man.
Prep time. Prep time. Yeah, prep time.
Oh, that just reminded me. Did you watch the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special?
Uh-huh.
I think they described it as totally inappropriate, and they were right. It was awesome.
Just the Bane stuff alone.
Yeah.
Because I was telling Kristen last night, she asking if Dick Grayson was in. I was like, no. I was like, it's crazy. I'm like, I can't even like fully
comprehend what I
No.
watched.
Oh my god, just Etrigan selling love potions and
Yeah.
stuff. Oh my god, but
Yes.
just Bane in those buildings. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Yep, you are not wrong.
Uh,
Sorry, I totally took us way
that's
off
all right.
course again.
That's all right. That's all right. Oh, but while we're off course,
Mm-hmm.
special announcement, kids, because I just found this out today. I'm very excited. If you're listening to this on the podcast, or it already have happened, but you can go back and listen to it on the Capes and Lunatics podcast or on the YouTube. I found out February 22nd, I get to talk to Mr. Todd Stashwick himself, who is in the final season of Star Trek Picard.
Very cool.
Yes, which starts
Very-
this Thursday. Yes.
Oh, it does. That's right. I am looking
Uh-huh.
forward to that.
So I
Very
will
much
I will talk to him a day before episode 2 drops. So
Very cool.
yes.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
you know what? I talked to him many years ago, like when I first started podcasting, because he showed up on Gotham for a few episodes. You're welcome, Rob. But yeah. So like when I first started, so hopefully this interview should be a lot better. I'm sure back then I was probably like, how was it being on a TV show? Is it nice being an actor?
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was like 2014 or something. I talked to him. So yeah, so hopefully 9 years later, I've improved a little bit. I hope.
Nice. Very nice.
Not as many or speaking of yeah, no Quantum Leap. They took a break again this week.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, dang it, I've been enjoying that show a lot. Quite a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Oh, I know we talked about the last one, but was it the one before? Did we talk about with Robert Picardo?
Yes, scientist.
Hey, he was still a doctor.
He still was a doctor. Yes, that is true.
Every time we called him doctor, I was like giggling. I get the joke.
It's a joke. Haven't you watched Voyager?
How does a hologram age?
That's right. Very carefully.
Oh, but no, I just wanted to confirm this in my head. Remember, I said our episode on Rebirth will be in May. What are we also getting in May? Are there a new Hal Jordan comic series?
It's like karma, right?
It's gonna be a bit. Oh, Will's gonna be all happy in May. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're finally getting a new Green Lantern ongoing series starring Hal Jordan.
And
Rebirth.
I'm hoping we get a little bit of, hey, the Guardians have quarantined Sector 2814. How did they do that? From beyond the grave? I don't know.
Is that going to be, I don't know. Is it just going to be, oh yeah, it's always you humans, we almost died. We almost died. The core almost fell again every time. Every time it's going to be a thing. It's going to be, they're going to be like, we've studied every time this core's gone down, and 99.9% of the time, there's been humans involved.
Yeah, it's you damn dirty apes.
there's been residents of Sector 2814 every time.
Every time.
Millions of years, we had no problem. Once we introduced humans into the
quarantine, you're quarantined.
Every 10 years, that damn core has gone down.
Yeah. But it looks, they had was it Comic Book Resources, or I can't remember which site had some preview art, that showed Sinestro in a, his kind of hoodie thing on Earth, I guess. Some pictures of Hal and the look of the series, I guess. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And Jeremy Adams is the writer, so
yes,
definitely looking forward to seeing what he can do with Hal. We know that he can write a pretty good Hal because he was, responsible for a couple of episodes of the venerable and much loved animated series, which is still pretty awesome.
Yeah, I still want to try to get an interview with him, even though it doesn't look like it's easy to get a hold of him. But but yeah. Oh, did you watch? Are you caught up on the Flash? The season premiere of that was last week.
No, I haven't seen it. Is it good?
Oh yeah, Barry and Iris get stuck in a time loop.
Did he?
No, it's
Darn.
not. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. No.
For the first time, it's not his fault.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's like but yeah, it's like Groundhog Day. They keep waking up in the same day.
That's I mean, and, that was the Quantum Leap episode too. Was kind of a Groundhog
Yes.
Day-esque. So that's you could do a lot of fun stuff with those.
The one loop. He's like, I think I just died the last time.
Oops.
Just like the Quantum Leap episode, he died.
Yeah, every time.
That's not going to do funky things to the universe.
Yeah. Any Green Lantern news this week? I think
I don't think. Again, it's like, yeah.
We got that massive, dump of news a couple of weeks ago, and it's waiting for stuff to, come through, I guess, on that.
Yeah, next couple of months, I think the other thing we're going to be getting is like previews for the upcoming series, comic series. And kids, let's go out and buy this book. Do we want multiple Green Lantern series again? You got to go out and support the book.
We do. We do.
Speak with your money. That's what I've said. I've used this example for years. I'm like, they will give you Hulk Dancing Swan Lake in a tutu if if they sell if it sells 1 million copies, they'll give you that every month.
Yep, exactly.
Vote with your money.
Yep, absolutely.
End of the day, it is a business. So yes, vote with your dollars. And even if you're just like Hal Jordan's not my brace yourself, Will. Even if you're like Hal Jordan isn't my favorite Green Lantern, go buy it because we get this book top 10. Maybe they'll start giving us other Green Lanterns and other books.
Give us, a John Stewart ongoing, or a Kyle ongoing.
Yes. Or maybe
and Guy. I like Guy too. A Guy ongoing.
Simon, Jessica, Joe.
Yeah.
Hell, Killwalks.
Exactly.
Or maybe
Salak.
Maybe we'll get a Sinestro book again, or a Red Lantern book again.
Yeah, or Larfleeze book. Who knows?
Or do an anthology book. Do somebody different every issue or every arc, Yeah. Or focus on a different core each arc.
The mythology is just so vast, and the board on which to play with these characters is, not only the DC universe, but all the parallel universes. I mean, there's so much that can be done.
Give us a Roy G. Biv book. Issue 1, you're doing some Red Lantern. Issue 2, you're doing Larfleeze. Issue 3, you're doing a Sinestro Corps member.
Yeah. Who is Jessica? Or maybe not at this point. We don't know.
Who knows? Dead people walking around, Will. I don't know.
Cats and dogs living together. It's the end of the world. Sorry.
Mass hysteria.
That's a Ghostbusters illusion for all you really young people out there.
Yes. The next time someone asks you if you're a guardian, you say yes.
Exactly.
Someone needs to do that joke with Jon Stewart.
Yes, you're right. Because he is a guardian.
Exactly. So you don't forget.
But
exactly. All right. So should we get to these? We're acting like we have Guy Gardner issues. No, we got Mateus issues. Come on.
I know. And I think these, just to preface it a little bit, I think these are stronger than the Sinestro arc. Because it deals, the birthday issue, of course, has the Justice League in it.
Yeah.
But
again, I think we're back to like the mystical, metaphysical stuff.
Yes. That I think this book did so well early on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because JMD Mateus has even said he loves like the mystical stuff. It doesn't matter if it's Marvel or DC. He loves like the magical stuff and. So, all right. So yes, Justice League. The Spectre number 24. Again, I don't. Well, here I'll do the credits, but I don't have synopsis for this. So,
okay.
But yeah, February 2003. They say it's your birthday. Writer JMD Mateus, penciler Louis La Rosa. inker Dennis Jenk, colors Guy Major, letterer Kurt Hathaway, and editors Dan Raspler and Valerie Durazio. All right, so yes, as Will said, yes, the Justice. Well, I guess Hal invites the Justice League.
To surprise Helen.
That's right, for her birthday.
Oh, and all 4 of these issues have some really great covers by P. Craig Russell, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this one by the giant skeleton on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I love when the Justice League shows up. It's like in the middle of nowhere. We can't see you can't see the tower.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I did like the gag with Green Arrow.
Oh yeah, which one? I am his best friend. I am his best friend. Oh, after Barry.
Yeah, exactly. There were multiple gags with Green Arrow, and they were all great.
All right, so okay, number one, Hal Jordan fanboy. Who do you say is his best friend? Barry Allen or Oliver Queen?
I think I'm gonna have to give it to Ollie because I think they spent so much more time together. Hard Traveling Heroes, and then the book after Hard Traveling Heroes was them together for quite a few issues. I mean, that's not to say that Barry and Hal aren't good friends, but I just feel like Barry's so soft spoken traditionally,
Yeah.
whereas Ollie's kind of a loudmouth, and I mean, when you get right down to it, Hal's kind of a loudmouth too, So I think they really mesh well together.
Yes.
I don't know. What's your take on that?
I mean, I get it. Yeah, I think it might be Ollie. I mean, I like the opposite thing with like Hal and Barry, like when they're written well, like Hal's,
Oh yeah.
shoot first, ask questions later, and Barry's the more cerebral one.
He's already thought of about 1,000 different ways to do something. Yeah.
Yes. And again, yes, he thinks so quickly. Yes, he can be the deep thinker.
So, okay, here's one for you. Of the 4 Corpsmen, Kyle is your favorite.
Yes.
Hal is mine, of course. Who is Kyle closest to of the 4 Corpsmen?
Who is he closest to out of those 4?
Yeah.
I'd have for a while I would say John, just because they spend so much time together. But then after Rebirth, or even doesn't he spend some time with Guy for a while? I'd say it's either John or Guy.
I was gonna probably go with John just because of the history of them.
Because I mean, we've never seen that him and Hal spend a ton of time. I mean, they have, but not a ton of time together.
Yeah.
I think just because of that era, if nothing else, pre-Rebirth, that he spent time with John and Guy.
Okay, so now I'm gonna put the other one to you. Who's Hal closest to of the 4, or the other 3?
I'd say, you want to say John?
I'm kind of leaning that way, but then I think that, Hal sent Guy in, as a Red Lantern because he trusted him. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just
a hard one.
Just all the ancient history between Hal and Guy, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think they're good friends now, but
oh yeah, in the past that was definitely not the case.
yes.
Interesting.
But yeah, this issue was weird in a good way.
Yeah, and Minerva doesn't quite get along with really anybody, does she?
Oh yeah, no, especially like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this is a change up because remember when no one could
Mhm.
remember Hal was the Spectre? Now it's
Yeah.
like the Justice League remembers,
hmm And of course, we had to have a at the end of the issue, because not the entire Justice League showed up, but apparently the entire Justice League did show up because somebody, I won't say who,
Well, someone with his superior skills manages to sneak into this magical tower.
Batman,
uh
my favorite character.
huh, and leave a present for Helen.
Yes. Because they're
But
but what did you think about that comment? Because they're like, oh yeah, he's not going to show up and stuff, and it's just like, was it Hal was like, oh yeah, I thought he'd let that go, and so did someone say, oh, I think it's
he never
because
lets anything go.
well that, but it's like too, it's like, oh, maybe he sees a little bit of he saw a little bit of himself in Hal.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, and I thought that was a really good bit of, character writing there for
Yes.
by Mr. DeMatteis. But and ultimately this kind of doesn't necessarily get washed away, but it just doesn't ever really get referred to anymore because, Batman's back to his really accusatory tone, in Rebirth, right?
Oh yeah.
So, oh, and by the way, I think I responded, but that was a really interesting article about
Yeah.
Helen.
Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this episode. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
But I think the whole thing with Batman and Rebirth was just Jeff Johns saying, "Oh yeah, no, people haven't forgotten that how
Yeah. hmm
yeah, he was possessed, and we've revealed that here, but not everyone is forgiven and forgot."
Yeah. hmm
So who would be the one to hold on to
A grudge? I don't know. Someone.
Batman, my favorite character.
And that's the other joke, the one we all pull with Ray when Helen just keeps calling Oliver. She's like, "Oh, Batman."
Yeah.
Batman, my favorite character.
And then it was really awesome when DeMatteis had her say, "Yeah, I know you're Green Arrow. Hal told me to call Uncle Hal told me to call you Batman just to annoy you." And I'm like, yes, that was awesome.
That's so funny. He's like the Spectre. I mean, he's like, it's like the right-handed god, and now he's still like, oh yeah, prank Oliver, yeah.
Perfect. It's perfect.
I know. But no, yeah, Batman's gift to Helen, he got this picture of her and her parents that she couldn't find after they cleaned out the old family house.
hmm
Uh but yeah, again at the end, when Hal tells Oliver, "Relax, Helen adores you, and you really are the best friend I've ever had, next to Barry."
Very. Oh, and then but Green Arrow says, "Okay, but yeah, if you meet Batman, you have to call him."
Oh yeah, what was it? Here,
What was it?
see if I can find it. Maybe it's wait,
It's like right at almost at the end.
oh, if you ever meet Batman, you have to pretend you think he's Blue Beetle.
Yes. She went, sure, okay, I'm down with that.
Oh yeah, and then he gives her the little toy bow and arrow, and she shoots her nanny in the head for him.
Minerva. Yes,
Yes.
Minerva. Who then takes it and breaks it. Yeah, this was a change up issue that I think was really well done.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah. Again, it kind of get a little bit more focus on Helen's again, and
mhm.
probably a nice little palate cleanser after like that Sinestro stuff.
Yeah, which I've been thinking a little more about that, and I think what he was trying to do. It's just I feel like we got so bogged down into all the history, between Hal and Sinestro and what was going on there that I don't know, it just didn't come off. It didn't feel like the Spectre book that I was used to from before, right?
Yeah.
Or what we have now. So,
Again,
and
the whole Sinestro thing. I know. That smacks that I have no proof. That smacks me of editorial interference.
mhm. Well, and we have the benefit of hindsight, but Sinestro is a much better fleshed out character at this point, and
Yes.
not just straight up I'm evil cause I'm evil,
Yeah.
yay evil, go team evil, which is what kind of we got there,
Yeah.
and that's not necessarily a criticism of the writing because at this point Sinestro hadn't been really kind of explored and revealed to be a much more three-dimensional character at that point.
Hmm.
But it was jarring, going back and seeing him portrayed like that. So
Oh yeah.
that's on me. That's not
A-
on the writer.
And he wasn't even really dead.
Exactly.
That's what I said. I just always had I had candidate where I was just like, yeah, that's that whatever it was that Hal thought he killed in Emerald
Yeah.
Twilight.
Yeah. Or I think there's a line in Rebirth where it says, "Oh yeah, Parallax and I delighted in torturing him with visions." There you go. That's
Yeah,
one of
exactly.
them.
Good vision fooled everyone, even the Guardians. They thought they unleashed Sinestro.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you ready to move on to the next issue?
You bet.
All right, yeah, this was interesting. All right, the Spectre number 25 from March 2003, Crime and Punishment.
And this felt a lot more like,
Yeah,
the Spectre of earlier.
yeah, it's pretty much the same team, but Norm Bravevogel's back on art. So
Sadly, he was a great artist, but sadly not with us anymore.
exactly. Yeah, so this is weird because we get this super strong villain, Miklos Karis.
Mm-hmm.
Think Blockbuster Solomon Grundy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what? So he's like,
Then experimented on, and then just goes on a rampage because,
yeah, and then he has his day in court, and it's just like,
yeah.
is he responsible for his actions? Should he get the death penalty? And we see the Spectre. Well, we see Hal appear to him at a certain point, but then, certain points.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get this DEO agent, who's going to solve the riddle of the Spectre.
Now, what was the name of this DEO agent?
Let me see, because I think this was
It was a new character. It wasn't Cameron Chase from
yeah, no, it wasn't, because this is
short
like
series. Okay.
no, because this was like a dark-haired woman. I'm trying. Sloan something Sloan or Sloan.
Franco, is that her name?
Here, let me see if I find it. But yeah, I was just like, it's like, really, honey, you're gonna solve the mystery of the Spectre?
Yeah.
Mm. Right here, she's talking to the director. Come on, say her name. Oh man, the name's really not.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'll keep looking, but yeah, it's
Well, and it gets into some interesting, thoughts around, justice and, what is justice? How can the scales be evened? I mean, he killed so many people, should he have to die for that?
yeah,
When he did,
it's Agent Franco. I don't know if we get a
yeah,
first name or not, but yeah.
and he didn't necessarily choose the path that he was on, but he does take full responsibility for his actions. Ultimately at the end of the issue, when he says, regardless of what was done to me, I did this. Even if I wasn't capable of making a rational choice, I still did this, and I must be punished. So, I mean, it was an interesting it brought up some interesting issues about justice and crime and punishment and all those things, which I thought were, you know,
And I mean, the Spectre was a bigger part of it, but this reminded me of those issues like the vampire issue
yeah.
and,
Hmm.
kind of almost like the Spectre's like the a character off to the side.
Yeah. Hmm.
Even
And
though,
we get another one of those, in the final, in the
yeah.
next issue as well.
But yeah, this was interesting. So yeah, any other thoughts on this one? I mean, again, good art is Brayfogle art. The
Yep.
story is interesting.
And, lots of food for thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm,
But yeah, a really, really good issue.
all right. So are we ready for the next one?
I think so.
All right. And again, I mean, it's a crime that this series hasn't been collected. It's not on the app.
Yep, it's not. It's an excellent series. It's got a bevy of superstar artists on it. It's got a superstar writer.
And it's just good
It's
storytelling,
and it's just a great series that should be, I should be able to put an omnibus back in the library of this one, because it's a
Yeah,
good
it's only
book.
27 issues. Yeah, that's easy to collect.
Hmm.
I just wonder if they think it's going to cause too much confusion, especially with like stuff at the end, which we're going to get to here in a couple minutes, but like stuff at the end and hey, what happened to this character?
Well, I mean, that's easy enough. You could have a forward and you could have an afterword,
No.
explaining everything, before and after. But it really is. It's a shame that this series is not. There's no trades of it. There's no
No.
hardcovers. It's not on the. It's not on the app.
I don't think it's
It's.
ever been reprinted at all. No, unless you find the floppies,
Yeah.
or you're searching on the internet. Yeah, you're not seeing this story.
Mm-hmm.
Any of them.
Yep. Unfortunately.
All right. So we ready for the next one?
You bet.
The penultimate issue.
The penultimate issue.
Take a drink, Lilith. All right. The Spectre number 26, April 2003. Looks like, yeah, same team as last issue. The Path. Which, yeah, like you said, this one's kind of like the last one where
Mm-hmm.
we see different people around the world just like basically get
Well, and
visited by the Spectre.
Yeah, the Spectre's doing what he believes his mission is, and that's to inspire hope and redemption. So this is another good story. I mean, and I think at the time it would have been topical because it's dealing with kind of some faux Middle East violence, but then also just violence in general. So, but yeah, I think it's a really good issue, and I do like the kind of tongue-in-cheek ending to it too,
Yeah. Oh yeah, because the guy comes bursting in and calling all of them who've been visited by the Spectre and been inspired by it. It's like, oh, you bunch of wackos. But then he walks out the door and reveals it is Hal.
It's Hal, yeah, when he flies off. But I mean, inspiring people to, over, choose peaceful solutions over violence, and and he's not. I don't think it sugarcoats, oh, everything's great after you choose that, because there's some, that choice brings, even more suffering to one of the characters. He loses the ability to walk because he gets shot, right? But I think it's a really good kind of rumination on, again, the theme of what the Spectre is and has become for this series, which is, hope and redemption.
And again, it's like, besides the fact he was the Spectre, we really don't talk about in current comics like what Hal did in this series. if you wanted to write like a more mature Hal Jordan, I mean, you could always throw stuff in like this where it's just like, yeah, I'm still the test pilot
hmm
Maverick, but it's like, I can't be completely what I was because of what happened
Of
in the
this,
of the stuff
yeah.
like this. Yeah.
Even though he doesn't remember it. Now, I think
Oh, is
Grant
it? I
Morrison.
can't remember. I guess I haven't reread it as much as you have, which we will soon. But it's just like, so does he remember none of his time as the Spectre?
I think they say that in Rebirth that he doesn't remember any of his time as the Spectre,
Uh,
but um, I believe Grant Morrison has Hal become kind of Spectre-ish in one of I think it's season 2 of The Green Lantern.
oh yeah, I can't wait to get to those too because it's been
Yeah.
I think I read those once or twice, and
hmm But yeah, I thought this was an excellent issue too. I mean,
oh yeah,
again, who was the artist on this one? I can't remember.
Norm Brayfogle.
Norm, that great art.
Oh yeah, but yeah, just some of those visuals, like when Hal appears, like to them on stage and stuff, and
hmm
the
And there
vision.
was a neat, yeah, there was a neat touch where the reporter's saying, yeah, some people thought he was an alien, some people thought he was an angel, some people thought
Yes.
he was something else. He appears differently to everyone, which I thought was a nice touch.
And again, it's like we downplay, this series, so it's like, well, we never hear about this Vision Foundation again, even though it seems like they're still going
hmm
at the end of this issue. So I don't
Now,
like that.
I wonder if, because we know that Mr. DeMatteis was really wanting to create that spirit of redemption, which he did follow through and do in JLA Dark. Was that what the series was? Do you remember? I know when we
Ah,
talked to him last, he was able to finally follow through with his plans, even though Hal had, moved on to back to Green Lantern. It's possible that, this Vision group could have perhaps played into that. I don't know. I'd have to do some research.
yeah, it's been a while. I've only read a few of those, so I'm
hmm
not sure. But and again, was that New 52? So it's like again, it's like that plays havoc with the timeline too.
Yeah. Yeah. What universe are we in, Phil? I don't remember anymore.
Well, yeah, between all the crises you talked about, New 52, then we have
Mm.
Dark Knight's
Dark Knight,
Dark
Dark Knight Metal, and
Dark
Dark
Knight's
Knight Death
Metal,
Metal.
Dark Knight's Death Metal. I mean, I believe that the multiverse was destroyed and put back together. So it's
Again, yeah. But we'll keep it straight. That's what we do.
yes, exactly. All right, you want to get to that last issue, and then we'll talk about that article.
Let's do it.
All
Yep.
right. All right, kids. The final issue, The Spectre, number 27, May 2003. The beginning of the beginning.
hmm
Same team. That's right. We're going out on Norm Brayfogle art. Whew. All right. So pull this up here. So yeah, the final issue, we're kind of like Hal seems like he's like, oh, should I let Helen go and let her have a normal life? And
hmm
again, I wonder if they did they you know how sometimes they'll advertise, oh hey, last issue, but then sometimes they'll just like throw it out
Yeah.
there. It's just like
Yeah.
it doesn't even say last issue. It's just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. And surely there was something in the letter column, but I don't have access to the letter columns at the moment. So I don't know what was said, any kind of editorial or anything like that about this being the final issue.
There might have been, but don't call me Shirley.
Yeah. Roger. What's your vector, Victor?
Oh, but yeah, but then we get that whole thing in the beginning. It's like, I once was a man. I was a Green Lantern. And then he's going through the whole parallax thing.
hmm Actually, and there was something really interesting in that first bit because he kind of asks, why did I do it? I don't know why I did it. you know, in that little monologue that he has there, it doesn't make any sense.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought that was a nice touch. I enjoyed that.
And again, it's like, I mean, are rebirth plans in place now? Because I mean, now it's early 2003. I mean, are we still too far out? But it is early 2003.
I think we're still too far out. I mean, we'd have to ask, Mr. DeMatteis
Yeah.
if they were canceled for what was coming, or I mean, there's still a year and a half between the end of this series and Rebirth launching, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
And again, maybe it is canceled because of numbers, but again, not even like this team's fault, because like I said, I at the time I forgot this book was around all the time because I never saw advertisements for it. I mean, the only mention you get is like when Hal would show up as the Spectre for 2 seconds in Cal's book. It's just
yeah. Oh yeah, he's the Spectre. I forgot about that.
yeah, but they don't, not even like a blurb. Oh, hey, go check out
Check it out. Yeah, go
his
check out the
monthly book.
Spectre. Yeah.
Nothing. No.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think probably by the time this came out, I was like, oh yeah, is this still going? But yeah, I didn't know how long it went. I remember I didn't know when it ended. But yeah, that is interesting. Where he's thinking about his time as Parallax. He's like, why did I do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
And then he talks about his mission.
Yeah.
And what the mission is, and then the rest of the issue, it's him debating on whether or not, to have Helen go live a normal life, which he does, and then he's like, oh, that's a bad idea. And then it ends and they're happy. I mean,
well, yeah, well they tried to do that. Well, we tried to do the fake out here where it's like, oh, here, yeah, go live with your
cousin, I think is what it was, wasn't it?
something like that. Yeah. It was something. It was somebody on the mother's side of the family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at. Oh yeah. Your mother had a cousin. Yeah, it was the mother's cousin. Yeah. A wonderful woman with a wonderful family. And then we get the whole, Helen's like, fine, I don't want to ever see you again, never. But then she walks in that house, and nope, she's back in the tower with Hal and Materna. Yeah,
I can change my mind when I know I've made a mistake. So hey, yay!
And then again, that last page is just Helen, Hal, and Materna like flying off happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and unless I misjudged one of those versions of Hal, it looked like The Spirit by Will Eisner.
Oh yeah, because it's got the hat and the scarf. Yeah. Yeah,
nice touch, I thought.
Maybe it was Norm or someone having fun on that last page.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then again, it's like Materna's like, she lost the glasses and everything. We gave her the makeover.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and this was a good issue. I mean, it really just kind of, I think it gives it a good ending in that, it doesn't end. It's like, oh, we're going to go off and have adventures, and we're just not going to be seeing what those adventures are.
It's like, you thought she was going to leave like Ab and Sir? I fooled you.
Got you. But I thought it was a pretty good way to go out because it did sum up really the theme of the entire series and the mission of the continuing mission of these are the voyages, of Hal, and as the Spectre, what was going to be he was going to be doing, even though he wasn't going to be showing up in a book, basically. And I really get the feeling that almost to an issue, all of Hal's other appearances really ignore this series.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's just like, oh yeah, it's the Spectre. He's angry because that's the Spectre. Except that's not the Spectre in this
No.
series.
And again, I could see ignoring this series if it was utter crap, but it's not. It's
It's
brilliant. It's
great.
J.M.D. Mateus, yeah.
Mhm. So because what is it? We've got coming up in a couple weeks. JLA, or is it JLA Spectre? Or JLA
Oh yeah. I think hold on, let me
Soul War or something? I can't remember what it is.
let me see. Yeah, next week we're gonna do JLA Spectre Soul War 1 and 2. Yeah.
And I feel like, and I don't remember those, so this could be
Yeah, me neither.
completely wrong, but I feel like that's going to be more, ooh, Spectre, powerful, bad, angry, god thing, ghost.
Yeah, again, I
Doing
don't
bad things.
remember it, but yeah, I don't think we touch on
Mhm.
any of this stuff. Yeah, no.
I mean, and that's the Spectre that we get, the Hal Spectre we get at the beginning of Rebirth is, again, they kind of gloss over this series and go back to the Spectre being, the spirit of vengeance, right?
Hmm.
Which, we left that behind in after the first arc, right? Of the series. So
Oh yeah. But again, okay, let's get to it. It's like, what happened to Helen?
yes, so and you can maybe throw the link in the show notes because there's this really
Oh
great.
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yes,
there's this really.
it's on Tumblr. Yeah,
Uh,
it's basically someone's headcanon. I'm guessing it's Dark Spellmaster because it's darkspellmaster.tumblr.com. Uh, and from the description, she says, "I'm a female writer that enjoys many things, including writing original stories, comic writings." So, yes, so this young lady, woman, again, just I know it's a female.
mhm.
Well, she said it. The whole history of Helen is weird because back in 1978, Helen was named Jennifer or Jessica Jordan as the twin sister to Jason Jordan.
Mhm.
Uh, both
The
of
son
them,
of Hal Jordan's brother, Jack, and his
Jack.
wife, Janice.
Yes.
And then she says Jennifer or Jessica wasn't used in a lot and really didn't play a part until the DC Legends tale, which we're going to do later, I believe, with Hal Jordan as the Spectre, where
Yes.
Jack and Helen, then called Jennifer by J.M.D. Mateus, realized that the man they kept seeing in the park was Hal. So we haven't got to that story yet.
Yeah.
We will.
So that she said, this is where the story gets confusing. And Damon Tace is run the Spectre. There is no Jason Jordan, and Helen seems to be an only child. And then we already covered where the parents were killed by Stigmatis.
Who we never, I don't think we ever see again at all.
Again, nothing from this story comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up while you.
Even in like Rebirth, when Sinestro's back, shouldn't have been like, that wasn't me. You fought as the Spectre.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it talks about like Helen's the power she basically shows in this series. Unfortunately, the series ended before much more can be explained. It be explored with Helen, hinting at the fact that her soul had two destinies on it: one to save the world and bring it into a golden age, and one to destroy it and herself in the process and send it down into hell. Such burdens may have been interesting to explore as she grew and changed, particularly if her powers did manifest in a more prominent way, forcing Hal to train her. It seemed like Helen was enthralled with superheroes, though she also liked dolls and other girlish things. Sadly, we never got to see more of Helen, or not a lot more of her after the Spectre run was canceled. Hal was returned to a lantern. Jack and Janice turned out to be alive and had their twins of Jennifer and Jason only.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
And I
on
have to
the,
say, I like her headcanon that she comes up with to explain this. I thought that
yes.
was.
On the other hand, Jim Jordan had married Susan Williams and had two kids as well, Jane Jordan and Howard Jordan. Jane seemed to have inherited Helen's abilities, as during one of the parts of the Sinestro Corps War, Jane was able to see something in the future. But then she's like, now here's the part that bugs me. First, are Jack and Janice dead? We never did see them in the Green Lantern by Johns, to my recollection at least, but some people are saying that they're alive. I wish I knew for sure. This brings up the question about Jason being around too, given that he's Helen's / Jennifer's or Jessica's twin brother.
Twin.
And that brings us to Jim and Jane. Jane is roughly the age of Helen in the books, and I think this was the only way for Johns to have his version of Hal without him being saddled with a kid. He could have easily had Jason turn out to be alive and well, along with Jim, and have the twins move in with Jim and Susan. Blah blah blah. Anyway, there's some. So here, this is what she came up with.
Yeah.
So what I've come up with to explain all this and still have some cohesive storyline that fits within all this to occur in DC proper up until the point of Flashpoint.
Flashpoint.
Which led in the New 52. In order to retroactively fix all the framing issues in this timeline, I had to figure out what the heck happened, which wasn't an easy given that the kids aged slowly. What I came up with was the fact that due to Jack and Janice having been around Hal so much, there was an aspect of the Risen. They saw them as a good place to set the future avatar. Jennifer and Jason, both in college by now, had left, and Janice had Helen around the time that her uncle went all crazy. Thus, Jack and Janice had 3 children in total, the first 2 being the twins, Jason and Jennifer, Helen being the last one to be born into their family. Her soul at the time was imprinted by some cosmic forces, seeing her to be like her uncle, capable, strong, and full of hope and will. Jack and Janice passed away in a car accident. Hal took on Helen, and at this time it was discovered that her powers came from the Risen, thus the Spectre series of events. It was while she was studying with Materna that she realized that her uncle was feeling a pull back to life. Oa was reformed, Kilowog was alive, and various other things were happening that would need Hal back. So she let him go home, and with the help of Materna, created a new version of herself in the form of Jane Jordan in the Risen on her request, so that her uncle didn't go nuts, blocked Hal's memories of the time. So that helps block his memories of the Spectre. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jennifer and Jason believe their sister was killed in the crash, so they don't come looking for her. And thus Helen, now Jane, was living with her older brother, Howard. And then she's saying after Flashpoint, Helen's powers got unlocked. And while she went crazy, realizing that she was split from Jane, rather than force her innocent self to go through the situation where her powers were going out of whack, with Materna's help, she was able to place herself in this slumber she is in now and through her mind and imagination, limbo was created where heroes could be safe until things were fixed.
I think that works pretty well.
Yes.
I like that. I like that headcanon. I vote for it.
Yes. Again, yes. Yeah. Kind of like resurrected. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or reincarnated, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's really...
It's more than any of the comic writers given us.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much of the series. Well, I mean, all of this series is basically ignored by, other writers, other series. We don't have any by the publisher. We don't have any trades, or we don't have any collected editions of this stuff. It's not even available on the app. I mean, it's a shame because, coming into this, I like to be right, but in this case, I was wrong. I didn't want to like this book because Hal as the Spectre I always thought was not good, right? Not good at all.
Well, again, hindsight, you knew that. Now you know it was just a temporary thing. So
yeah, but I mean, between the writing, by J.M. DeMatteis, the art, we had Ryan Sook, we had Norm Brayfogle, we had P. Craig Russell, we had lots of great artists on this book, and the stories were just amazing. It is a wonderful series that needs to be collected.
Exactly, it does. I do you think they're just worried about them saying, "Oh, this contradicts stuff that came later," or what happened to Helen, or
they did Flashpoint, death metal, and metal, and they've done what was the Grant Morrison series about the alternate Earths? They've done so many alternate Earths. This wouldn't.
Oh, is that multiversity or whatever?
Multiversity stuff. I mean,
yeah. Again, it's like maybe they didn't want to put this out around the time of Rebirth, but so much time has passed, so much
exactly
reboots have happened. Yeah, put it out.
Hey, this is the Spectre from 20 years ago. It's a great series. Read it.
Or if you want to treat it like an Elseworlds, whatever, but just put it out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, I mean, J.M. DeMatteis has been writing like miniseries over at Marvel, like filling in like some of his time around the like Spider-Man clone saga and stuff. It's like
Mhm.
bring him over here, be like, okay, here's what happened to Helen. You know, here's
Yeah, tell us what happened, or give us a new story that tells her story and gives us an ending to what she's supposed to do for the universe and the world and all that stuff.
she brought back the Guardians after Jeffrey Thorne's right.
There we go. It was Helen. She did it. Oh well.
That'd be
But
a
yeah,
fun
I mean
thing.
this really was a great series, and it is a shame that it is not collected and not on the app. I mean, it should be more available for people to read. It really should.
Exactly. That's what the app should be for, is for stuff that has. I mean, you could have stuff that's already been collected, but especially stuff that hasn't ever been collected. That should
Hmm.
get first thing right on the app.
Exactly. I mean, and I know that there's going to be some issues of some series that are never going to be collected for a
Well, yeah.
variety of reasons. But seems like a no-brainer.
I was gonna say, if something's crap and that's why it's never been reprinted, that's one thing. But no, this is good writing, good art.
Hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Maybe once the Spectre hits like live action or something, then they'll start putting on every Spectre tale ever on the app.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I already mentioned it, but yes, next week, JLA Spectre Soul War 1 and 2. And then in 2 weeks, Green Lantern 156 and 157. John Stewart's back. And that week, we'll also cover Cosmic Odysseys. So,
Poor John. Poor
yes,
John.
2 weeks is going to be a big John Stewart week. Then in 3 weeks, Green Lantern 158 through 161. And then in 4 weeks, that's right, part 2 of our crossover. We're going to be covering JLA Avengers 3 and 4 here.
Nice.
1 and 2 will be on Marvel Tales. So that's going to be a big one.
Classic story. Kurt Busiek, George Perez, who
Oh,
unfortunately
yeah.
is no longer with us, but an amazing person and wonderful artist.
Probably the biggest Marvel DC crossover ever, right? I mean, just the amount of characters and
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a big deal when it came out. It was a big honking deal.
I mean, the only thing that comes close is probably that Marvel versus DC from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And this, well, and no offense, but JLA Avengers is a little better.
Yes. I mean, and this was in what, 2001 or 2002?
Something like that. Yeah. It might not be exact, but it's pretty close to the era we're in now, reading now.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Marvel versus DC was basically just like, oh, hey, vote for your favorite, they'll win. And it's just like, I mean,
What?
I like the character, but I mean, Wolverine beats Lobo.
Probably shouldn't happen, no.
I mean, a guy who can arm wrestle Superman's getting beat by Wolverine.
Yeah. It's the adamantium.
I guess, but I was kind of like, doesn't he regenerate too? And so, doesn't he have healing powers and stuff? And he's super strong.
Yeah.
Well, they both have healing factors.
Yeah. Isn't he also a genocidal maniac too? But whatever.
Which one?
Yes.
All right. So, yes, that's what's coming up. All right, kids. So, yes. So, send us all the thoughts. Again, send us your thoughts on the Spectre stuff. Maybe if we scream about it enough, DC will reprint it somewhere or put it on the app.
Yep.
So, yes. So, email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And again, new info here, kids. Yeah, if you're looking for social media links, the YouTube channel, all our videos, merchandise, yes, one-stop shopping now. You can find everything at our new website. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. And if you can't remember that big mouthful, yes, it's right down there in the show notes, every episode of every podcast we do, every YouTube video. Yes, the link will be there. So, yes, please visit our website. And again, you can sign up for emails. You can be notified every time a new video goes up. So
Nice.
yes, get on our mailing list now. All right. Speaking of mailing lists and a man with important things to do, Minister Will Allred, Master of the Quorum, Master of the Quantum Zone, Master of the Kickstarter division, and pretty soon Master of the Mailing. Where can people get a hold of you?
You can find me at Walred. That's at WALLRED on Twitter and Gmail and Facebook and probably several other places that I may or may not have remembered setting up over the years. But if you want to check out my comics, you can check out Crossover Division at crossoverdivision.com. And Phil is alluding to the fact that number 4 has been printed and is currently winding its way through the United States to get to my doorstep and should be here tomorrow, where I'll get to use, this side over here, my amazing Dymo label printer, which I talked about in my newsletter last night. And I'll be mailing those out to all the backers, and fulfillment will be commencing very shortly. So yeah, Crossover Division at crossoverdivision.com. If you want to check out Diary of Night, you can check out Diary of Night at diaryofnight.com. And Phil is not the only podcaster that I annoy on a weekly basis. I also annoy Kevin Joseph, the writer of Tart, and together we talk to Kickstarter comics creators about their projects that are currently live on, on Kickstarter or any other crowdfunding platform, about their project to try to get as many eyeballs on, indie comics on crowdfunding as possible. So you can check that out. It's called Explain Yourself. It happens every Friday night at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. And finally, you obviously have great taste because you're here listening to us talk about Green Lantern. That means you probably love Quasar. And again, who doesn't? But if you'd like to find out more about Quasar, you can check out the Quantum Zone at quantumzone.org.
5 inches, maybe.
Seems like I'm getting a package every other day.
Oh, you're about to get a bunch
One
of
tomorrow. I'm excited.
And again, if you love our old show, The Quantum Zone, subscribe to our Patreon now because the March episode will be an episode of the Quantum Zone, a new episode of the Quantum Zone. So with Matt Kona. So
who are this person? There must have been like a crisis or something because I don't remember this person.
He gives me his bone.
That guy.
That guy. Okay, that guy.
See you later, Bunky.
Okay, before we get out of here, I can't remember if it was the last issue of Crossover Division. It was one of the previous ones. Like, how many boxes? Did you have like a picture up? Like, just how many boxes do you?
It's usually like 4 to 6 boxes. Because I think print runs have been, around 500 copies or so that we print for, the backers and everything. And then I go through and, bag and board all those guys and start. I would show you my giant stack of mailers. They're over here, but I won't do that out of respect for, everybody. So, but actually, fulfillment is kind of fun because I try to personalize every package.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do is that, in universe, Crossover Division is a bureaucratic department, right? It's a bureaucracy. Its agents are really effective at what they do, but it's still a bureaucracy. So everybody gets a letter that's stamped, top secret, that has their name and, an agent ID number because they just joined, Crossover Division. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So, putting those in and knowing that, I'm sending this out, to somebody that, plunked down their hard-earned dough to back the project, it just makes me happy. And it's, it's like I'm sending out little packets of joy, as I mail out all these packages. Gosh, I'm getting all, joyful and happy. We better stop this.
All right, Santa. All right, Santa. Let's get out of here. That's right, kids. Again, next week, more Spectre, JLA Spectre, Soul War 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then
some guy is going to be back to being Green Lantern in 11 weeks or so. I don't know who that is.
I was gonna say no, 2 weeks. Sean Stewart will be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, lots of good stuff coming. But yes, 11 weeks, and Will's gonna be shooting off actual fireworks.
That might be a long episode.
Hey,
That
man,
might be a long
I'm
episode.
telling you, man, May's gonna be a big month. That and the new series. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, kids, come back next time, and remember, don't misplace your niece. Okay, good night.